We would like to applaud the accomplishments and acknowledge those businesses who were nominated this year. The top 4 nominees for Business of the Year are the News Times, Salon Ethos, True Cut Engraving, and TCB Management. Drum roll, please.
I'm going to say something before you open that. The Business of the Year exemplifies partnership. The strongest characteristic of the winner is their desire to be involved in shaping the livability and vitality of our community. They are extraordinary leaders that treat customers and employees well, with dignity and respect. They have proven that success is definitely not a sprint, as they have overcome many challenges in a changing business climate, which have, with hard work and perseverance, have led them to the finish line to be the 2013 winners of the Greater Newport Chamber of Commerce Business of the Year. Will you please announce the Business of the Year?
This year's winner is Newport News Times.
You get 2 months.
That's cool.
Check this out. In recognition for excellence in innovation and business development and exceptional contribution and support.
Thank you. Everybody, sorry, I'm not very good at this.
Jamie Rand, publisher of the News Times, for those of you who may not know.
I usually get to hang out behind the scenes and all you make the paper and people hang out behind, so to be in front of this many people is stressful.
So, how does this shake out? What does this mean for you?
Well, first of all, it has really, it's something to do with me, but really about the people that make up the News Times and the paper. Many of them have been here for 10, 15, 20 years, 25 years. And if I could just take a moment to recognize my staff and those people. The first person I would like to recognize is Steve Carter, who is our manager. Please. It really is important, and I think Steve has to put up with me on a daily basis, which is, unfortunately, none of you know what that feels like, but it's a task in and of itself. So having him put up with me, going, Steve, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? I say, okay, we'll do that, Jamie. We'll try that. The other person I'd like to recognize is my advertising director, Barb Moore. Barb, would you like to? Unfortunately, Barb has to put up with the same nonsense. What about this? What about this? Try this. Okay? And the last person I would like to recognize is Lee Breedlove. If Lee, if you could come up, please. He is my press manager. Press foreman. It's these three people that take a very young publisher who walks into the business, and almost every single day, especially when I took over, I was in the fetal position for at least about 3 months.
You was, I saw it.
Yeah. Nobody really tells you exactly what you're going to have to deal with or what you're going to have to do. But what I did know is this, is that being in the newspaper business is a lot of fun. Contrary to popular belief, it's actually an incredible amount of fun. And what I did know is that if I continued to ask enough questions to these people who had been running our newspaper, your newspaper, for a very, very long time, that eventually we would come to some kind of conclusions. Sometimes we negotiate the conclusions, and they end up being more their conclusions than mine. But I knew that they would help me, and they did. And that's what makes the News Times a quality community newspaper. And the last and only other thing I would like to say is this, is despite what everybody may hear about the Oregonian and every other newspaper in the world, here's what I know, and this is the reason why I know that we are different. The other day I called the publisher and president of the Statesman Journal. I was looking for printing equipment because Lee said, hey kid, please call the Statesman Journal because I think they got a lot of nice press equipment I think we should use. So, do what Lee said, okay, we'll call the Statesman Journal. And I ended up getting a conversation with the publisher of the Statesman Journal. I said, oh, how are things going? And after about a 17-minute pause, he says, well, you know, we're going through a lot of changes, some digital things we're trying, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, tell me how those are going. He didn't want to get in that conversation, but what he did say to me was this. He said, well, we've done a lot of different strategic initiatives, which as soon as you hear that, you know, that's a euphemism for blah, 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 blah. But he said, you know, the funny thing that he said to me was, one of our strategic initiatives is this. We're going to have our journalists get out in the community and start talking to the people that live and work in the community to try to figure out who they are and what they're really about. And I thought to myself, wow, that's a novelty right there. That's something you probably should have been doing about 50 years ago. And then things would be much like they are in the News Times. And if you don't read the News Times, you should. And the one thing that you'll notice is there's never any wire service. Every single thing that comes in the News Times is either from the community or it's written by the people that live and work in the community that have done an excellent job to make this paper what it is. So to these people, you should applaud, and I thank you very much for your time.
Again, thanks to all those that were nominated too for your outstanding community service, and congratulations again to the